You wake up one morning with a strange feeling. Not panic, not pain. Something quieter, heavier. It's the ache of nothing. A hollow kind of fatigue that no sleep can cure. Like your soul has jet lag in a life you didn't book the ticket for. You check your phone, notifications, headlines, distractions. But none of it means anything. And somehow, that's the most terrifying part. You're alive, but not really living. Functioning, but not fulfilled. Busy, but not becoming anything. Have you felt it? That quiet dread tucked between the lines of your to-do list? The sense that you're moving fast, but not going anywhere that matters? It's a peculiar kind of suffering, not loud like heartbreak, not sharp like grief, but slow, suffocating, and invisible. No one talks about it, because how do you explain the pain of absence? The pain of a life that technically works, but doesn't mean anything? You smile when you're supposed to, you nod, you play the part. But inside, there's a question clawing at your insides like an animal in a cage. What am I doing all this for? And that's when it hits you. You've built a life that looks right, but feels wrong. This is the cost of living without purpose, not failure, not ruin, but the slow erosion of your why. A life where every day feels like a rerun, where the calendar flips, but nothing changes except the number of candles on your cake, where you chase comfort, success, and approval, but you never feel truly home in your own existence. And the cruelest part, it doesn't happen all at once. It seeps in like water through a cracked ceiling, until one day you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the eyes staring back. They've lost their fire, their hunger, their reason, but you're still breathing. So the world assumes you're okay, but you're not, you're adrift. And purpose? Purpose is the anchor you never dropped. You didn't choose this numbness. It didn't come crashing in like a storm. It dripped into your life, one unnoticed compromise at a time. It started with the job you took, just for now. The relationship you stayed in, because it's easier. The dreams you postponed until things settled down. Days became months, and somehow, without deciding, you built a life around avoiding discomfort instead of chasing meaning. But the world praised you for it. You were responsible. You were stable. You were normal. No one tells you that normal is a sedative. That stability, when divorced from purpose, becomes a slow form of self-abandonment. You scroll past videos about finding your passion and think, who has time for that? You've got bills, deadlines, groceries. You're too busy surviving to wonder if you're alive. But here's the trap. Busyness feels like purpose. Distraction feels like direction, and comfort feels like safety, until it turns into a cage padded with soft routines and quiet regrets. The world gives you a script. Get good grades, get a job, get married, get promoted, get a mortgage, get old. And if you follow it just right, you might never have to feel the discomfort of asking, is this who I really am? But deep down, you already know. Something essential has gone missing. Not money, not status, not attention, but something deeper, the sacred sense that your existence is moving towards something real. And the longer you live without it, the more the silence inside you grows. Until one day, the noise of the world can't drown it out anymore. When you live without purpose, you don't just lose direction, you lose yourself. Your mind begins to rot in quiet ways, not with madness, but with mediocrity, not with chaos, but with caution. You become skilled at pretending, smiling on cue, saying I'm fine with expert precision. You become so good at playing the role, you forget you're acting, but your body knows, your psyche knows. That ache in your chest, that tightening in your gut, it's not random. It's your soul trying to wake you up. Anxiety doesn't always mean something's wrong with you. Sometimes it means you're not where you're supposed to be. Depression isn't always a chemical imbalance. Sometimes it's your spirit withdrawing from a life that offers no real nourishment. We pathologize the symptoms of a life unlived. We medicate the cries of a starving soul. But what if your sadness is sacred? What if your restlessness isn't a disorder, but a compass? You see, when you stray too far from your purpose, your mind rebels. Not with rage, not with fire, but with numbness. You stop dreaming, you stop risking, you stop feeling. And you call that maturity. You call that being realistic. But deep down, you know the truth. You didn't outgrow your dreams. You just buried them to survive. But anything buried alive will claw its way back to the surface eventually. In your anxiety, in your insomnia, in the moments of stillness you try to avoid. Purpose isn't some luxury of the lucky. It's the oxygen of your soul. And when you live without it, the mind begins to suffocate, slowly, quietly, until apathy feels like normal and joy feels like fiction. Let's strip the word purpose of all its glitter. Forget the Instagram quotes. Forget the self-help gurus telling you to find your passion like it's some lost sock under your bed. Purpose is not a career, it's not a title. It's not something you can chase on weekends while living a lie Monday through Friday. Purpose is the alignment between your soul and your actions. It's when what you do reflects who you are. When your life stops being a performance and starts being a statement. It's not always glamorous. Sometimes purpose looks like quiet devotion, like staying in the fight when no one's watching, like doing what's hard, not because it pays off, but because it matters. You don't find your purpose. You build it, moment by moment, choice by choice. You build it every time you tell the truth when lying would be easier. Every time you say no to comfort and yes to growth. Every time you stop asking, what will they think? And start asking, what do I believe? Purpose isn't a destination, it's a direction. A way of walking through the world with your eyes open and your spine straight. You won't always feel certain. You won't always feel ready, but you will feel alive. Because real purpose isn't about being constantly happy. It's about being used, fully, deeply, honestly, in service of something larger than your ego. And it doesn't have to be loud. Sometimes purpose is raising a child with love. Sometimes it's starting a movement. Sometimes it's simply refusing to betray yourself, no matter how easy it would be. The truth? Purpose often asks for more than you think you have. But in answering that call, you discover parts of yourself you didn't know existed. It stretches you, breaks you, then rebuilds you into someone worth becoming. So what now? You've seen the cost. You've felt the weight. You've named the emptiness that most people die denying. But awareness is only the beginning. Purpose doesn't return with a single epiphany. It returns when you start living like you mean it. And the first step, stop running, stop numbing, stop distracting, stop pretending that comfort will eventually fill the hole that meaning left behind. Sit in the silence. Let the ache speak. There's wisdom in your unrest. A voice beneath the noise saying, this is not who you were meant to be. Don't ignore it. Lean into it. Because purpose doesn't shout. It whispers, and only those willing to listen can hear it. The path back is raw. It means unbecoming the version of you that fit in. It means shedding the layers you wore to survive. The people-pleasing, the perfectionism, the self-betrayal. It means doing things that make your voice shake. It means taking the first step without seeing the whole staircase. You'll lose things, comfort, approval, certainty, but you'll gain something deeper, wholeness, and wholeness is worth every risk. Because when you start living on purpose, life stops being a game of survival and starts becoming an act of creation. You don't need a perfect plan, you need a compass. What breaks your heart? What makes your blood burn? What could you do for hours and still feel energized? Follow that. It won't always make sense. But if it makes you come alive, it's worth trusting. Purpose doesn't rescue you. It requires you, your presence, your courage, your truth. It's not out there, waiting to be found. It's in here, waiting to be answered. Imagine this. You're old. Not in the cliché romantic way, but truly old. Time has had its way with your body. Your hands tremble, your spine bends, your days are short, and your memories come with a price. You sit alone, staring out a window, and for the first time in decades, there is no noise, no meetings, no notifications, no distractions, just silence. And one question echoing in that silence, like a scream inside a cathedral. What did I do with my life? Not the years you survived, not the boxes you checked, but the moments you truly lived. And in that stillness, the truth cuts deeper than any regret. You played it safe. You kept the peace. You followed the script. And in doing so, you betrayed something sacred inside you. You didn't lie. You didn't steal. You didn't fail. But you never answered the call. The one that whispered, "There is more in you. Don't waste it." That's the real tragedy, not death, but the life you never claimed, the words you never said, the dreams you buried under, maybe later. You think you have time. That's the lie that kills more dreams than fear ever could. But here's the truth. You don't need more time. You need more intention. Purpose doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It waits for a decision. One small defiant act that says, "I refuse to sleepwalk through this life anymore." So ask yourself, not in theory, not tomorrow, but now. What is the unlived life inside you? And what are you willing to risk to finally live it? Because the real cost of living without purpose isn't failure. It's forgetting that you were ever meant for more.